Hello friends, welcome to the ninth lecture of Financial Planning and Control Systems. Friends, last 8 lectures we have discussed many things on the management control system and how to arrive at the maximum controls in an organization. Thank you all friends to receive a warm response onto my YouTube videos. Many people have given comment and they also like my videos and they become subscribers to the videos so that they will be benefited by the regular videos which I'm going to upload. Approximately 15-16 videos, and out of that 8 videos are already uploaded, and this is the 9th video. This is basically a very small video on strategic planning and formulation of the strategic planning process. More towards the theory in this lecture. Basically, we will be discussing today nature, techniques, and steps for strategic planning into an organization. Friends, in any organization, we require to have a strategic planning, and for that, we need to have the formulation of the strategy as well as the maintaining of their strategy, sustainable maintenance of that particular strategy, which is called as an ongoing process. Sometimes what happens is we prepare the planning and implementation goes haywire. So the whatever we have spent in the planning process, we are sometimes it goes as a failure, and it gets into sometime reverse benefit. It means into a losses. So let us start with the techniques and the nature, and then we'll come to the steps and finally the ongoing process. Very small video, friends, and it will be giving a nice thing which everybody will on a higher cadre will be able to process in their organization. Basically, the strategic planning involves a long-term planning, and it is usually undertaken by the top management. So it is quite simple that it is not at the level of the executives, but at the top management. Strategic planning is the process of deciding on the programs that the organization will undertake and the amount of resources. So one side is the program and second side is the resources. So both the level we will be able to see that the what will be the process of the program and what are the resources that will be required for the next few years. And the planning will not be for 1 year, it will be for 2 to 3 years. Earlier it has to be for 5 years, but now looking at the frequent changes, technological changes and the process changes, we have mostly the organization will do it 2 to 3 years. For strategic planning is to be effective, there are 3 things, friends, required. That is, one is the appropriate organizational structure. There has to be a properly hierarchy, matrix. There will be a line category and a staff category and the management category. And there will be a process of the management information system to be provided on a particular hierarchy to the top management. There has to be a 1-page summary every week or every month has to go onto the particular thing or the data. There has to be a data analysis and there has to be a budgetary system. Friends, we are going to discuss the budgetary systems and the budgetary control in the next lecture. It is very interesting lecture, friends. You should not miss that. And every organization has this budgets. Even India has this fiscal budgets, and there has to be a reward system if you are implementing a budget. Characteristics of the strategic planning. Here, friends, strategic planning is the first step of the management control process. Yeah, so strategic planning is the first step in the management control process, and there are although synonymous, but there are differences between the strategy formulation as well as the strategy planning process. Friends, strategy formulation is the process of deciding the new strategies. How a new strategist comes into picture, it is called as a strategy formulation. Whereas strategic planning is the process of deciding on how to implement these strategies. So one, they formulate the strategy and then there is an implementation. Strategy formulation essentially involves deciding on the goals of the organization, whereas planning is concerned with the developing programs to implement these goals. So one side, the formulation of the strategy will decide on the goals, and planning will see that the goals which are decided during the strategy formulation is effectively implemented and efficiently implemented. Third is strategy formulation is unsystematic and depends on the threats or opportunities that the environment offers. For example, today there is a coronavirus. So many organization is taking this as an opportunity by work from home or by any digital meetings and etc. And they are also thinking that most of the people will work from home now, even though the coronavirus will go. So this is what unsystematic and depend on the threats. These are the threats or the opportunities, and they are converting into the opportunities. Strategy planning is systematic because once the idea comes, you have to implement it very properly. So it is a systematic. It is usually done annually with prescribed procedures and timetables. So once the formulation of digitization is done, say for example, then the planning will come into picture. How many computers, who will work from home and who will not work from home, and what kind of meetings there will be a digitization, what will be for the exhibitions and seminars. Either they will be done on any kind of audio video conference, or it will be a physical presence. What will be for technical sessions of any kind of the decisions. What will be for commercial decisions. Those can we have it on a digital platform, or can we avoid the personal meeting? Those kind of the planning will be done, and it is a systematic. Now the benefits. Strategic planning takes into consideration the changing business environment, which is a foundation of the organization change. It helps to identifying and analyzing the internal business culture and evaluating its impact on the company's performance. So once the planning is done, then there has to be a benefit. So benefit can be according to the business culture. If the planning is not accepted by the mass of the people in the organization, then the performance level will go down. So it has to be a continuous check on the evaluation of the company's performance. It helps in analyzing available opportunities and potential threats time to time, period to period, or year to year. It helps in allocating resources to the most beneficial activities. So there are certain things, like for example, in a company, there are 5 departments or 5 hierarchies. In just 5 responsibility centers in our term, which responsibility center is most beneficial to the organization, and so that the resources will be transferred to that particular responsibility centers. So the company's objective or the goal can be timely achieved. It helps managers to set realistic objectives that are demanding and yet attainable. It helps in identifying poor performing areas and eliminating them. The way we are giving resources to the most powerful responsibility centers, similarly, it will also identify the poor performers and eliminate them. It helps in obtaining better information for decision making. It helps in developing the frame of reference for the budgets. So when you plan for a budget for the next year or the current year based on the strategic formulation, then the planning will give you what kind of the resources will be required, and resources will have to be converted into money. So that money will be set into particular format to frame the budget. It helps in bringing about coordination of internal activities and thereby enhances the organizational growth. The strategic planning process involves the following steps. Now we are on to the steps. Steps are first reviewing and updating the previous year strategic plan. So whatever we have done previous year, that we will review and we will update with the previous year plan. Second, deciding on assumption and guidelines for the plan. So what kind of the assumptions which we have taken, for example, say for example, rent, we will go for a fair market value. For example, standard output or standard input. So those kind of assumptions we will take into consideration, and guidelines for the plan. So how we are proceeding for that particular plan. First iteration of the new strategic plan, then we will prepare to circulate, then analysis what we do, then second iteration of new strategic plan, and review the whole strategic planning, and then approval, and then it will go for the process. This is what the strategic planning process. although it looks very difficult, but once you are into a strategic planning, it is quite simple and people will love to do a planning strategically. Friends, lastly, we will do this analyzing the ongoing programs. Once it is done, then it is not that once it is done, then nobody will monitor. So it is not only important for a company to develop new program, but also to analyze ongoing program. So every monthly or quarterly, we need to see them. The tools used for analyzing ongoing programs are valuation analysis, activity-based costing, and R&D expenses center and analysis. Friends, there's three things we will be having a different videos onto this, because this is a part of our other videos. Till then, friends, today we are through with the strategic planning and the formulation. Next lecture, friends, we will go the need for the budgets, forecasting of the budgets, strategic planning, and budgetary processing controls. So friends, again, I always say that friends, keep learning and grow yourself, because there is sky is the beginning and there is no limit. This is from a step ahead solution from Sailesh Prajapati for uh, the series of financial planning and control systems. Uh, Friends, I again thank you all for giving a warm response on YouTube channel of mine, and I expect that I will get the same love and warm welcome or the response onto the particular channel. Thank you, friends. Stay tuned. We will be there with the 10th lecture on the budgets in the next week. Thank you very much.